import everything, but just to make our code a little cleaner, we're just importing things, importing the things that we need, right? So that's the first thing that we do. So we import a web driver, and then what do we do next? And this is the website address. Okay. Cool. So I am using Firefox. So let's, so that is why this line, but let's walk through what happened here, right? So I am assigning a variable FP. Again, you can assign whatever name you want. FP is a Firefox profile for me. So that is what FP stands for. And then I use the property Firefox profile for WebDriver. This is just to set what browser am I going to use. So this just sets that I'm going to use Firefox, right? If people don't have Firefox, I believe you can also do something like CP Chrome profile. So you've got Chrome, right? So you can like identically do Chrome, but like if you have Firefox, I'll just recommend you to do it. The syntax might be slightly different for Chrome, but we can look for it if you're doing that. Right? So once we have our WebDriver done, then what do we need? Then we basically need the address, right? So this is the web address that we need. And where do we get this from? Keep putting these things in chat for you. But the address comes from the NFHS website, right? So like this address, you copy that, or you basically Google NFHS 5 and you go to the National Family Health Survey and you get this website, right? So that is the website that we're trying to scrape. So we go and we enter that address in here. And now finally you create sort of your medium to the website. And the way we create that is by this syntax. Now this is getting like, I understand this might be getting a little sort of overwhelming because we're doing a lot of things together. So if there are any questions, let me know. Like this is the third line that I wrote, driver is equals to webdriver.firefox. This is now using the profile that we created right here as an argument. So you remember how when we had to create, when we had to get prime numbers, we would first tell the function what our number is as an argument, and then that number would return to us the prime number. Now what this does is webdriver.firefox, we just pass a particular profile that we need. So what do we mean by profile? Now you can have multiple settings when you are trying to install the profile, but for now, let's ignore that. We are just working with default settings, which is why we don't pass anything in this function. Okay, so I'll pause a second for any questions. Yeah.
That like you have used Firefox profile. So my default browser is I use Chrome. Okay. So we'll use CP is equal to WebDriver dot Chrome or just Chrome profile.
So so there is Chrome. Like I should have actually looked up what is the more thing for Chrome.
Because it is just showing Chrome. It is not showing when we type it.
Yeah. So let me try. Let us try that out. I actually forgot that people mostly use Chrome, not Firefox. So WebDriver.Chrome. Let me see what happens if I try to get. So I don't have like I've never done this for Chrome, and apparently it needs a Chrome driver to be in the path. I will send more documentation. I'll send like modified code for what you should do for Chrome. Sorry about that. Okay. How many people are you? How many people don't have Firefox? Should have checked this before. Raise of hands. How many people don't have Firefox? One, two, three, four. Okay, let's take 2 minutes and can you guys install Firefox? Sorry. Just because I forgot whether there is a web driver also for Firefox that is needed to be installed. So yeah, I just go to whatever your Chrome thing and just install Firefox. It's like super easy to get. Also, Firefox is more private than Chrome. Better browser. But yeah, just try installing it. Are people installing? Okay, I don't know what is happening. So you need to. Someone needs to tell me. Are you trying to install? Okay, cool. La, 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 la. Okay. done installing. Okay. So since Japneet is the one responding, I'll call out on him and be a little unfair. Right. So Japneet, can you try out this code and tell me if it works? I doubt if it'll work, but can you try it out?
Should I run it? Like,
yeah.
Should I play the play button up top that is there?
Sure. Yes.
Okay. It is work.
Doesn't give you an error. Try this line also. Driver.get add.
No, it is giving me an error. Wait
Does
a minute.
Does it say WebDriver exception? Like this error on your screen?
Yes, it shows Gecko Driver executable.
Yeah.
Something.
So this is my bad. I forgot because like I installed this as a long time ago. So there is another thing that needs to be done for this to work, which is a Gecko driver, right? Which is like another utility that you guys need to install. For it, let's go again online and just look for Gecko driver download, right? And then you'll find this link, Mozilla Gecko driver on GitHub. And then, so everyone I believe is using Windows. So you can download this 34 thing, right? And then you download that. Basically, I'll just put the link in chat. Oops. And then once you download that, so like for example, I download this here, save file. Okay, this would have gone in my downloads in containing folder. Now this Gecko driver, you extract. Okay. And then this is the file that, so you just copy this file. For now, you can copy this file in any folder and then create your Python file in the same, save your Python file in the same folder. So that should work. Yeah. Don't worry, like most of the web scraping is anyway logistics management. It's a combination of libraries that we'll use to just get to it. So the main task is to get those libraries working. So there's this Gecko driver, and it's my bad. Like if you want to do this in Chrome, there is similarly a Chrome driver that you can download and again put in the same. So like, for example, I downloaded this. Now I copy this file. I go to my desktop. Here I create a new folder. Let's say scraping Python. And then we just paste that here, right? And then what I'll also do is this file that I'm writing will save this in the same folder. So this is important, like you need to save this in the same folder. We call this scraper and fetches, and we save this in the exact same folder. Done.
So I pasted the Gecko driver on the desktop. What else has to be done after that?
So this particular file that you are creating, save it in the same folder. So Gecko driver and this file has to be in the same folder. Like usually it has to be in the path, but we'll talk about that later. For now, just put it in the same folder as your main file.
Okay.
So like this file that I'm creating, I have put this in this folder, scraping BE Python, and the Gecko driver is in this folder, and the Python file is also in this folder. So like this. And make sure you unzip the file when you copy it. So like it should be this file and not the zipped folder. Done. How many people are trying this?
Yes, done.
Okay, now can you try running the code? Was there any error? Do you see anything? You should ideally be able to, so when you run this code, this is what should happen. So I like just ran the code and I get to the website.
Yeah, it is opening up. Code is running.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. So first step complete. Now we got to the website, right? Now let's proceed. Cool. So everyone who tried this or who's trying to try this, did you face any issues? Like, are you all able to get to this website? Like, is like you should automatically be able to open up this website. And just for fun, try opening up Google. Give you 2 minutes. Try opening Google here. So instead of this website, like this is what you should see automatically. Try opening up Google.
Hey, if we put the same driver, like we have put the website add is equal to the NFHS website, okay?
Yeah.
So if I put add is equal to say another website, will it treat it as X like the variable X had the same value, na?
Mm-hmm.
It was stored in the memory, so it does the add get stored in the memory also over here.
How okay, I think I understand, but can you be more specific? Like, so what are you asking?
Like
yeah.
Is add is a variable for it.
Yes, add is a variable which contains the website name.
So add is equal to like we have put add is equal to NHFS website, okay? Once.
Correct.
So if I want to add another website to it, say Google.
Yeah.
Okay, so I would have to change. Can I do with add, or would I have to change the variable also, like add one or add two?
So like if you do this,
yes,
right? If you do this, then okay, you do this. Then to open the website, you'll have to run this function again, right? Or how will you open the website? Like, so okay, so both are add now.
Yes.
So what will happen when you run this?
That is why what I'm asking, na? That is what I'm asking. Like, can we?
But try to guess what will happen. So add was first this, and then we put add equal to this, and now we are running driver.get. So what will happen according to you?
It will open. What I think is it will open 2 tabs.
It will open 2 tabs. Okay. So for this, let's do one. Oh, sorry. Let me do this. How do I undock this? Undock. Okay. So let's try this out. So if x is equals to 4, right? And now if x equals to 5, now if you're doing x plus 2, what will you get?
7.
7, right? So why did you not say it will give us both 6 and 7?
Okay.
Do you follow?
Yeah.
So when you have put in add, like this basically changes the value that add has. So it doesn't matter whether add originally had the NFHS website or whatever, right? Because now you have replaced that with Google. So now when you run this, what should happen is you should see Google.
Okay. So that is what I'm asking, that for different website I have to define it again and again, like different variables for it, right?
Yes. So if you want to open multiple websites, like you can do add one, and then you will have to add another command, right? Because now what will happen? Okay. If I just run this,
it will open just the NFHS website.
Right. It will just open the NFHS website, and now
it will open the Google website. Google.
Okay, so let me close all my Firefox so that we know that whatever is going on, and let's see what happens. So we get NFHS, and then in the same web browser, we get Google. Do you see what happened?
Yes, it gets redirected.
It gets redirected because essentially you just have one driver. So if for whatever, so usually whenever we are doing web scraping, and this brings out a very important point, something that I didn't think about earlier. But if you're doing web scraping, we usually focus on one website, right? Like our code is to scrape NFHS website. But if for whatever reason, if you need 2 parallel websites on your system running, then that is like running 2 parallel programs, one for NFHS and one for Google. Correct. So for that, what you will have to do is, so driver is your medium to that Firefox window that we opened. So you will need more of these. So you will need another driver, probably, right? So what we'll probably need is we'll have to create another driver 1. And I'm not sure if like we will need another Firefox profile, but we can test this out, right? This is essentially what we are here to see, like how to handle different types of things in scraping. I think this should work.
This will open 2 tabs, I believe.
Yes, that is what my guess also is.
It's opening up 2 windows.
Yes. So here was your NFHS and here is Google, right?
Okay.
So driver is what controls what window, how like driver is your single connection to one window. So driver is like a variable which contains the Firefox window or the Chrome window, whatever, right? So, and obviously one window can have only one URL.
Okay.
So if you use the same driver to open another website, it will overwrite the previous one.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
Makes sense?
Yes.
All right. So, so now basically what you should be able to do is you should be able to open any website that you want and you should be able to play with it, right? So keep like try this out if you want more, but that is what we have for now. Okay. So we got to the website. Now let's see what do we have to do in the website. So this is the website, right? This is the NFHS website. Cool. So let me open up exactly how it opens. NFHS 5. And this is the website, right? So for this, just use your Chrome. So open the NFHS website and now try right click, view page source. Right? Oh, sorry, not page source, inspect, right click, inspect, cool. Because we want to get into the HTML code of this website. Because that is how we will learn how to sort of change these things, right? What we essentially want to do is we essentially want to get into this list. Yeah, because what the website is doing is this provides us this list. And then you can, so let's say if you want to see the fact sheet for Bihar, you click on Bihar and then it automatically shows you the web, this for Bihar. So the next step would be to, to automatically select these state names, right? So Bihar, Kerala, and then once Kerala opens up, we can go back. And then whatever, so say Maharashtra, and then Maharashtra will open up, and then we will go back, right? So these are sort of the tasks that we want to do. The first task was to get to the website. That we did, and now that we understand how to do, right? So now, in order to get to this thing, again, what you need is open the website, click, right click, view, inspect, or Control Shift I, whatever you prefer, and then you will get this sort of a box. Okay? I've increased the font of everything, so that's why everything is really big. But this is what you will get. This is the, yeah.
Hi. Hey, I'm getting two inspects. So like it is accessibility properties and element when I right click.
So where are you right clicking? You don't get a window like this.
No, I'm not. What I'm confusing between what should I click. So it's, wait a minute.
So if you right click, you see what?
I get the.
And you're doing this in Chrome.
Yes.
And you get inspect.
And
what again?
I get inspect accessibility properties and inspect element.
I think inspect element is fine.
Yeah. Okay. I've done that.
Okay. You see something like this?
Yes.
Okay. Now what you do is, and it's like, so you look for this little thing, right, in the corner, and you click on that. So what this does is, now whatever we highlight, it will tell us the code in here for that, right? You see this? It is highlighting and getting weird codes and everything.
Yes.
And now we want to get to this, not this box, but this little drop down. So you get to that drop down and then you click there. And then you will get a highlight here.
Yes.
Yes. Now go to the highlighted thing and right click on that. So once you right click on this highlight, you get this option to copy. And what do we copy? We will just copy the full XPath of this thing. Right? And now what you do is you go back to your Python and say drop down XPath is equals to the string brackets, and you paste whatever you got. So you should have gotten something like this. So I will explain what we just did, but tell me whether you got to this step, whether you were able to create this variable with something like this.
So, Prankur, I think there is a request to repeat this part in chat.
Oh,
just
sorry, my chat gets hidden.
Yeah.
Sure. So, what did we do? Let's do this again one more time. We go to the website, we right click on the website, do inspect or inspect elements. Then you will see a window like this. And then this is basically the button which helps us select elements, right? So we click on this. And now we just scroll to this one thing. So when the drop down is highlighted, you click the drop down. Make sure it is just the drop down and not the whole window, right? So because we just want to interact with the drop down and not with the whole window. So once we get to the drop down, just click, and then you will highlight something like this will highlight, right? So the select name is menu one for this thing. What we want is we want to copy this thing's XPath. So we copy the full XPath for this. We just click copy, and then we go back to Python and we just paste it back, right? And we should get something like this. Did it work? Okay, like I think Japneet is trying it. So sorry, but like I'll call
okay.
out. Okay.
Yes.
Tell me where you are.
Yes. What is the code that we have to write down in Python? Can you show that?
We don't have to write down any code. We just have to copy whatever we copied in in whatever variable name you like. So
yeah, I have copied the code. I have got to it. Yes. Okay.
So do you whatever you copied? Does it look something like this?
Wait a minute. No. Wait a minute.
So there were two things. One was XPath and one was full XPath. If you just did XPath, it'll be slightly different. I think it still works, but I prefer full.
I'm not getting full XPath. I'm just getting inner HTML, outer HTML, CSS selector, CSS path.
You're getting inner HTML, outer HTML, CSS selector, CSS path.
Yes. Wait.
That is. And you're using like the same version of Chrome that I'm using. How is this happening?
No, I'm not using Chrome. I'm on Firefox.
Yes, so like that is so Firefox does not like I think Saket can correct me, but I don't think Firefox gives you XPath. You'll have to do this in Chrome. So like this has nothing to do with your scraping website. Just open NFHS website in Chrome and just do this.
Okay. Just give me 2 minutes, okay? I'll do that.
But like, was anyone able to get this? Something like this? Yeah, sorry about like having to switch from this to this to that. Like but eventually, this is what eventually is about, like having to use the best utility for whatever you have. And I think like Firefox works better for scraping because it has low lag time, and Chrome sorts of builds that out. And okay, so Anand got it. We'll just wait another minute.
Okay, I have done that. I'm getting this.
And you're getting the same thing, right?
Yes.
Okay, so now this is the drop-down experience. So we know, like, so what did we just do? Essentially, every element on this page has a unique ID, right? And if we want to interact with an element, we need to tell Python or our driver what that ID is so that it knows exactly where to go. So the full XPath in a sense is the ID for this element or its address or whatever, however you want to understand it. Basically, this is the key that will help us access this element, right? So that is why we copied this key. So for example, if you wanted to click on this particular link, what you could do is again, select the element and then just go to this, right click, select, go to this, click on this, and then you see this thing. And then again, that element, that link will have its XPath. There are better ways to extracting links on a website, but like this is the easiest. So whatever you see, so scraping is essentially automating what you are doing, right? So what do? We go to the website and we look for this dropdown. So we looking for this dropdown because we have eyes, so we can look for the drop down with our own eyes. The driver does not have eyes. It is sort of code, but it understands code and it sees code. So we tell it that, okay, this particular thing has this code, this code. So that thing has this code. So if we tell it that we have this code, it will be able to go to that code and, interact with it. So that's essentially what it is doing. It is finding that drop down like we would have found. And now the next thing is we need to see this list, right? So, or basically we need to select it. Now, what do you do when you go to this website? This website will look like this. Oops. So this website looks like this, and then you click on this. So clicking means selecting. So we will select this. How do we select that? And for that, we need this other command, which is, I'll paste it both ways. It's this. Paste it in chat. So from the WebDriver library and from the support function or from the support class, basically from this whole sub library, we are selecting a function called select. This helps us to select objects, right? So there's nothing more that I can explain because honestly, I don't understand too much of it. But what I know is that within this mega library of Selenium, there is this sub library, Selenium WebDriver support select. And within that library, there is this function called select, which we are importing to select our element, right? And then we will essentially, what we need to do now is, so once we are importing that, we will import like that select function. Now we need to create an object or create a variable that will select our functions, right? So let's call it state selector because that is what it is doing. It is selecting states. So what is our state selector? It is simply the select function. And now, sorry, I just need to go by. I forget. Okay. So since our medium was driver, we need to find element. So now, Japneet, you were seeing CSS selector. So that's also an option to do this. I've just found XPath to be the most reliable wherever I've script. But what we do is we do find element by XPath, right? So there are many ways to find elements. So we just do this find element by XPath. And now we know the XPath, which is the drop down XP. And we do that, right? So this will find that element and hopefully select it, right? Yeah. So this finds the element and selects it. Cool. But what do we, okay, so let's run this, right? We ran this and now it has selected it. So let me bring out the console now. So this is my console. And this is the website that has been selected, right? So it ran. So now we have something called as a state selector in, and let's see what the type of the state selector is. This is the select operator, right? Now, one good way to do things in Python is we don't know what to do with this now, right? So we have state selector. Now we can press dot. When what a dot does is after whatever follows after the dot are properties or functions of the state selector. So after dot, I just press tab. And pressing tab gives me all of these things. So these are all the properties that this thing has. And look at this. There is options, which sounds interesting, right? So what is this? Let's try it out. So state selector dot options. Oops, that was a long thing. So let me put this in states because state selector dot options. Now let's see what is the type of states. So it is a list. So which makes sense, right? Like if you have something, if you have a drop down and it have got, and if you're accessing its options, then options would be option 1, 2, 3, 4. So they should sort of make a list sort of a thing, which it does. Let's see how many options do we have, which will be in length, right? 23. Now I haven't counted this, but I'm guessing if you count this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and another scroll, it looks like it will be 23, right? So what we got is we got all of these options. Let's see one of those options, and I'm going to first. So like just stop me if you guys are stuck anywhere. Does anyone understand what this means? My bad. It's a trick question. We don't. It's again gibberish for us, right? It's something that Selenium does or has. So let me again do the same trick. Let me store this property. And let's again look at first what type this is. So this is Selenium WebDriver. We don't know what that means. But let's do a dot again. Okay, so it has got a lot of properties. And one of the properties it has is text. Yeah. So let's see what happens. Ooh, that we understand, right? So now I'll pause. So basically what we just did was now we know how to read all of these names. So Japneet is the only one who's been talking. I'm sorry, but Japneet, can you tell me what's going on? Like, did you try this out? Did it work? Anything that's unclear? Something that doesn't make sense?
Can you open the full window of Python? Can you once? I have to see the code of dropdown XP. So like, yes, okay.
So this was just the X path, right?
Yes. I have done till that. I've not run the code till now.
Okay. So what we need to do is we need to do this state selector thing. Again, yes. I will put this code in chat. Basically, what we're doing in this code is we use the select library, right? So we're using the select function in the select library. And then what are we selecting? We are selecting some element which we are finding by XPath. So like it is literally find element by XPath. If you want to try it out at home when you're later, you're obviously at home right now also. But if you want to try it out later, you can do find element by CSS selector, which you were asking about, and then put in that value. So right now we are putting the XPath, then you can put in the value of the CSS selector and then try selecting that. So what I'm saying is like sometimes you may not find a reliable XPath or something might go weird. Then you can try to see like different things. Like I've always worked with XPath and it usually works for me. But sometimes I've had issues and then I switch the ID that I'm trying.
Because I've done this, the code is running. So I think you can open the console. Yes.
So if once the code runs, then let me know. So like you should see a new window.
So I have added that dot options, state selector dot options, but it has not shown me. Achha, okay, it has not shown anything.
Yeah, because if you're assigning, then it will not show anything. If you just do this, So like I did here.
Shows.
If you just write this, then it will give you an output, right? Because then it will return all the options. But now what we're doing is we are silently putting all the options in states.
Okay. So I'm
right.
Should I skip and directly go to the elements part where we find the element? Yes. Okay. That's okay.
So you have state is equals to states 1, and then you just do state.text and tell me if you can see this value. And also like that, what you like, do you understand what just happened here?
Yeah. Understanding this.
So first thing we did was we selected that drop down thing, and now we are trying to get all the options in it, right? So we are calling it states is equals to state selector dot options. And once we get all the options, then let's for now extract one particular state. So let's just do states 1. The reason I'm not doing 0 is because like list starts from 0, right? But what is the first thing in this list? It is just the select states UT. And to verify what all there is, what we can do is, so we know how to apply a loop, right? For state in states. This will give us one state at a time. And we are trying to see the text of all of these states. So state.text. Oops. I should have printed that, my bad. Print state.text. Right? And these are all the states that we have. So the first thing in state is just the select states UT, which is not useful for us because we don't want it. So can anyone tell me if I want to redefine states, if I want to slice states, right? How do I do it? I need to remove the first one, right? Because the first one is useless. So the states that we have all these 23, but we just want to start from the first one. We don't want the 0th state. How do we do that? List slicing or list selection. Can you? Okay, I'm going to call out someone who is here. Anand is here. So Anand, do you know how do we do this? How do we remove the first element of the state? So basically what I want is, if I have a list which has elements 1, 2, 3, I want to create another list from this list with just the elements 2 and 3. So I want something like this, but automatically from A. How do we do this? What does this do? This gives us one element, right? And how do we get multiple elements?
You can use delete function, right? Delete del.
Yeah, but like, let's say if we want a sub list, right? So we essentially want to do a sub list. We don't want just one. What you're saying is we can do this, a dot delete or del a.
Yes. Oh no. I mean, just one element. I mean, yeah.
Like that.
Yes.
Apparently, that does not work. Right. So what you're saying is,
we discussed range. Pop also works.
Yeah.
We discussed
this is like the delete way, but we did this right in class 1 colon.
Yes.
When we were doing lists.
Yes.
What does this do? This essentially gives us
all the elements from
the elements starting from 1 throughout, right? So if you would have done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and now if you want, just let's just revise this again, because these are sort of the concepts that we keep using again and again and again. So if we have to do 2, 3, 4, how do we do it? Helvin, try again. If we have to do 2, 3, 4, what do we write?
We select from 1 to 1 to 1, 2, and
one colon, nothing after
1 colon. Nothing after that.
I mean, yeah, you need all the elements, right?
I need 2, 3, 4. I don't need 1, 5, and 6.
Till 4, I think. 2, 3, 4. Exactly. Yeah, 4.
3. You will do till 3.
I think
Till
4.
3.
You need 2, 3, 4, right?
Yes, I need 2,
So
3, and 4.
So you need to run till 5. Yeah. Just a second. 0, 1.
So what
2,
is the index of 4?
3. So you need to
The
run till
index
4.
of 4 is 3. Exactly.
Yeah,
So 1 plus the index you want, right? So if we go till 3, and also like a good rule is right L number minus the left number gives you the length of the list. So 4 minus 1, 3. This will be the length of the list, 3. If you get confused. So you start from 2, and if you want 3 elements, you just add 3 to that and you go to 1, 4. Okay. So we don't need the first element in our states. So what we do is this, right? Because we don't want the first element because it is pointless for us. So I just do this. States is equals to states 1 goal. And you can always like compound these statements, but let's do stepwise for now. Okay. So we got 2 states. Now, as I was saying, let's pick up any state. So let's pick up the first state, and the first state will be in 0. Right? Okay. So we have got to the first state. And now what do we want? We want to again select that state, right? So let me cheat again. Okay. So this thing, is an element which had options, but what else did it have? Does it have, so because this is the selector, sort of, we're calling it the selector, and we selected it, and it has the drop down thing going on. So we picked options, right? Now let's go back and check other things. It also has this option called select by visible text. What do you think this will do? This function or whatever this is. Again, so like just from intuition, like we haven't talked about this, and so what do you think this will do? Yeah, help.
I guess this will select only the states without the state text, I guess.
So if I do state selector dot select by visible text, and I'm just like how I'm getting this autofill is by tab. So if you're in console and if you keep pressing tab, then it keeps telling you the options, and then if there is one option, it will fill it up for you. Now it is by visible text. So now let's read what it says, the help. Select all options that display text matching the argument. That is, when given bar, this would select an option like bar. So state selector has many options, right? And we know what those options are. Those options are states. So the value that we give it, it will select that. So if we write Bihar here, it should select Bihar. That is what it means. Does that make sense? See, it selected Bihar. Let's go to our page and see what it did. Ooh, so it selected Bihar, and here is Bihar's fact sheet. I will expand this for you guys to see. This is what I wrote. State selected or select by visible text Bihar. Because Bihar is the visible text. So in that drop down that we are looking at, this thing, all of these are options, and visible text means the text that you can see, right? Just English translation. So this is what is visible: Andaman and Nicobar Island, UT. So if you put this whole thing, it will look for this whole thing, and if it matches, it gives you that. So what I did was I put Bihar in. So it matched Bihar. We click on Bihar, we get Bihar's fact sheet. How cool is that? Maybe I'm too nerdy, but very cool for me. Okay. So any questions on that? And also try it out. Like if you guys can try it on, if you guys can see whether you are able to also select. Tell me what's up. Okay, silence doesn't seem to bode very well, but what is the confusion? Like, ask me, tell me, like, say something. Anyone, please. Okay, so in chat, Anand says no, but what to, where, I don't know. So, yeah, Japneet.
So can you open the console?
Okay. Here's the console. So we took state selector, which has all our, which is basically our drop down, and within that drop down, we found this property, which was or this function, rather. Sorry, my bad. This function select by visible text, and then we are just selecting that visible text in there. If this is not working, like there could be reasons why this may not necessarily work with you if you like interfered with your WebDriver. But what you can do is you can just do this, right? You don't have to do this for now. It's okay. So you can just write this line in your main script and then run it again. Like just rerun this. And now it's running. Let's see what happens. So the first thing it does is it makes our driver connection to Firefox. It opens the website. It has already, like, because there were no timers or anything, so it already clicked on Bihar. And here you go. You should be able to now get the Bihar fact sheet. Questions, comments? Okay. Helvin, are you trying these things out simultaneously?
No, actually, I'm not trying out. That's okay. I'll try out
that's
later.
okay.
Yeah.
But does it follow? Like,
yes,
are you
yes,
able to follow?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm getting it. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, Japneet?
Yeah, it is opening up. It is showing.
Okay, so that is one part, but like, can you try to do this for some other state? Like, do you see where this is going?
Yeah. I'm getting.
So basically, what we know is, and then we can just, so we know that these states have all our options, right? And how do we access them? We access them like this, or we access them in a for loop, right? And what we also know is state name. If you want, you can do state dot text. So this will give us the name. So for example, in this case, it gave us Bihar. Let me go to the console. Now our state was the first state. So if we do state.text, we should get, what should we get as per our code? This was our code. So this was state. State was state's the first element after removing the originally first element. So essentially the second element. What should we get when we do this state.text?
All the states?
Andaman Nicobar.
Andaman and Nicobar. That's correct. So Helvin, so because this state has just one, right?
Yeah. Sorry. Yes.
So
Yeah. Got it.
I often do this. My variable names have just one missing S. So states is all states, and then state is just single. So that is what the idea here is. So state.text. Now we get a fail to write request. Why? Because I close the WebDriver. So because we close the WebDriver, none of these elements are active. And that is what the point of this is. That if you will close the WebDriver, or if you will change the WebDriver in any way, and if you try to do these things after that, then it will not work. But like here, if I just do this, just to show you that this still works, I can rerun this code, and then the website will open up. Actually, it will still not work because it will go to the Bihar page, right? Now it has went to the Bihar page. So basically on our screen, what we have is this. So when you are telling Python, what did I do here? I told Python to tell me the text value of that option state. And what is that state? State is this active WebDriver element or object, right? So here there is no such dropdown anymore. On this was the page on which there was a dropdown. This is the page where there is no dropdown. So now you can no longer access that dropdown. Does that make sense? So basically what you're telling Python now is go to this web page, because this is the web page. Remember, we have a single driver. And what web page is open on this driver? This Bihar fact sheet web page. And now we are telling it to look for that state option, which was here. So we are telling it to look for this element, but this element no longer exists because we moved on to this page, and this page does not have that. Are you following? This is sort of an important concept to understand whenever we try to do things, and if our pages are changing, we need to know what elements are existing and whether we are accessing those elements at that point or not. Yeah. Does it make sense? Why were we not able to access this element? So let me try something, because let me so we got state selector, and then we used, let's say we don't even look at options for now. We have state selector, right? And we are select. So we go to the website here. We select that drop down thing here, and then within that drop down thing, we select Bihar here, right? Hard coded everything. And now let's say if I want to do this, now I think that let's just get these options, right? So let's get states is equals to state selector dot options. Okay. And now let me write out print length of states. What will happen? If we run this code, what is going to happen? Think.
The length of the list.
Okay, let's first see what is going to happen step by step, right? Like you can stay on unmute, like, because I'll keep asking you. So this until here we go to the website, right?
Yes.
Cool. Then here we select the states, right? Or the drop down option. What do we do in this line?
It just selects the. If you write Kerala, it just selects by visibility. It just.
So it will select
the
Kerala
value
if I write Kerala. Here, this is what will happen, right? Is that what you're saying? What were you saying? Sorry.
Yeah. No. Just a second. Can you go again?
So this is the website.
Python.
This is Python.
Just a second. Yeah. State select. Yeah. So what was your question? I just forgot. What was your question?
So what does this line of code do?
Yeah, it just brings the Bihar thing, right? The Bihar NFHS report.
Okay. And then what will this line do?
It just brings the all the that options from the Andaman. If you have deleted the first part from Andaman to all the states,
Right.
it just brings all the
But
options, right?
right. But how does it do it? It like what it does is the first thing it does is it. So when you say state selector, it will first go and find what state selector is, right? And what is
Yes.
state selector? State selector is this Dropbox option, right?
Yes.
So it will find that Dropbox option and then it will give you the options in it, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So now let's talk through each line of code again. Now we understand what each line of code means. Like let's talk through each line again. So the first thing it does is it opens the website. Then it finds this, right? And then, as you said, the next line will do this Bihar thing. So we go to Bihar. And if we go to Bihar, this opens up. Now what is the next line supposed to do? Let me bring this side by side. Oops, this is too small, sorry. So what does this next line do? This line 22. It needs that Dropbox option to look for what are the properties. So where is the Dropbox option? This is the page that we are on. Right?
Yeah, and we need to go back. Right?
But is our code going back?
No.
So what will happen? It's okay. So we need to go back to look for the Dropbox option.
Yes.
So if we are not going back, what is going to happen? Take a wild guess. What happens when you're supposed to do something but you don't do it?
I don't know.
So when you're supposed to do something and you don't do it, that thing doesn't happen, right? Or in a sense, it fails. Yeah.
Yes.
So the code will fail.
Yeah.
Here, so this is running. The website opens.
Yeah, failed too. Yeah.
And it opens here, and here it is. It fails. It fails. Right? We get this error. Okay.
Yeah.
Does it make sense?
Yes. Yeah.
Cool. How about the others? This is sort of an important concept.
Yes.
And also good breakpoint, right? So we need to understand that the elements that we are accessing first need to be available. If they are not available, then we cannot access their properties. Yeah. So which is what brings us to what is the order of this code. So before clicking on this, so before clicking on Bihar, which this is doing, this is just clicking it, right? It's selecting by visible text, and the website is designed in a way that the moment you select a dropdown, it automatically opens the web page. So this is enough, right? So if you select by visible text and if you select Bihar, then it will go to the next page. And what that does is now that old page does not exist, right? Now let me show you how to go back, because that is what Helvin said we should do, right? We should go back, and only when we go back can we look for that element, right? But so let's make this a little slow, and just for you guys to be able to see, let me put some. So again, this is a library, and one thing good about this library is this has this options, right? Which is like a sleep option. So the website will sort of fade. So now, how do we go back? So the first thing we need to understand is what are we asking to go back, right? We are asking this website to go back or this window to go back, this Firefox window. And what is our connection to the window? How have we established a connection to our window here? Where have we? Yes, driver is exactly right. Driver is where we have our connection. So driver, right? Okay. So now what do we do with driver? We feel like, okay, what do we need to do? We need to go back. So I say driver dot b, and then I try tab. Oh, look at that. It has a function called back. And what does it do? It probably takes the website back, right? Will it work now? Let's see. All right. Okay, again, we run the code. We open up the website, right? The website is opening. Once the website opens, it selects Bihar. It goes to the next page. It will wait for 3 seconds and then it goes back. Voila. So we did what Helvin said that we should have done. We should have first gone back. So we are going back now. But did our code work? No, we still got an error. Why did we get this error? And again, we are getting the same error. It is a stale element reference exception. So this is like sort of important also, like we haven't talked about error handling, but just from the name, it is called stale element reference exception. So exception is just error. And what are we trying to do? So Python says that we're trying to, the element reference of this select is stale. Either the element is no longer attached to the DOM, it is not in the current frame context, or the document has been refreshed. So look at this last line, or the document has been refreshed. So if you will refresh a web page, even though you're on the same web page, you cannot access the elements again. You will have to create fresh links, because once you refresh the web page, it essentially, like what happens when we refresh? So sometimes when we are having slow web pages, what do? We refresh it. So that refreshing just deletes all present existing links, right? And that is what is happening. So which is why even when you come back to the website, we will still not be able to get it. So what will we have to do? We have to run these things again. Like we have to basically run the state selector again. So let's just see this in action again. So I'm running the state selector again now, because why am I running it again? What is our connection to this website? First, the driver is opening up this. Then we provided the address, so that opened up. Now the website is open. Within this website, we created, this was our only connection to this website, right? This is the only connection that we created, this Dropbox element. And when we click on Bihar, and when we click on some other, so when we click on some other state, we on one state, we go forward, we get to the website, we come back, but this web page, like essentially this web page is not the same as the old web page. It looks the same, but it is not the same to Python because it has been refreshed, right? So we need a new connection again. So we need to again establish connection to this. And how do we do this? We do this by our state selected, by this line of code. So we establish the connection, and now we do this. Will it run now? Or again, is there a problem that we still have? What do you guys think?
I believe it will run into error because we have defined it the same earlier as well.
But so how does that matter? Like you can define x as 3 and then again redefine x as 5, right? So that doesn't give us an error. Why should this give us an error?
I don't know that.
But so like a good guess when you're thinking that, why should it give an error? Then basically our guess should be that it won't give an error, right? Because there is no logic. Like what is the reason for it to give an error? One reason that it could give an error is if this changes, right? What happens if you come to the web page and if like the XPath of that variable changes. If the XPath will change, then it will give us an error because then the this XPath that we are looking for no longer exists. Okay.
Yes.
But that is not the case with websites, because even though this instance of the website, and when I say instance, I just mean loading it again. So when we load this website again, it is new for Python and our driver, but it is not a new website. And the HTML code of the website will still stay the same. So this XPath will also stay the same. But this could have been a source of an error when you were redefining it. Yeah. Okay. So because this is the same, this line should not give us an error. Will this line give us an error, or will this work as before? Yeah, Anand, were you trying to say something? Okay. All right. Let's run this and let's see if we again get some sort of an error or whether this works. So we go forward, come back. And now what did we ask it to do? We just asked it to tell the number of options, which will just confirm whether it's working or not, right? It tells us 23. I can also do something else. What we can do is we can ask it to select the next option, right? Like we can just ask it to do this again. So it comes back, and now instead of Bihar, let's select the first state. Okay. So I don't want to enter the value now. So what should I enter here? Like I want to select, and this is like the last bit for today. I want to select, let's say Assam. Okay. How should I select Assam without typing Assam? Like, do we have, by just automatically knowing Assam? How do we do it?
Element number. Element,
yeah.
Like the number.
So what is the number for Assam?
So it's 2 for Assam.
It is 0, 1, 2. It is 2. Yeah.
But we changed the list earlier also, but it will start from 0, right?
Yes, that is correct.
So it will be 2.
So it will again start from 0. Yeah, so remember, it is starting from 0, as you said. And what is Assam? So 0 is, what is 0? Is this 0 or is this 0?
But we altered the list earlier.
But are we altering it again?
No.
Is this
we are not altering. So it will again start from 0. So it would be select states and UTs.
Yes. So what should we do for Assam?
It will be 0, 1, 2, 4. It should be 4. Element number should be 4.
I believe it was parallax because you were going right. 0, 1, 2, 3.
Oh yeah.
Right. So 0, 1, 2, 3. So, but okay. So we know the element number, but what do I write here? So element number.
Write...
Yeah.
No. Go ahead.
Yeah, Anand.
I think we should write Assam, right?
No, we don't want to write Assam. That is the whole point. We want to write it automatically. That's why we are doing this whole. Yeah. So how do we do this?
But if we are not writing Assam, why are we typing by visible text?
But we can. That's a fair point. But we want to be able to type visible text without having to type. Is Assam contained in any of these things? Is what my question is. Like here, instead of writing Bihar, I can, like, if we have to write manually all the numbers, then there is no point running the scraper. We can manually download, right? The idea is to get to know the visible text, right? Like here, let's go back to our console. Maybe somewhere up here, we'll find. So like here, we printed out all the names, right? And Bihar was one of them. And Assam is also one of them. So how do I get this name to type in there without having to literally write Assam? And you were right, it is the third element, 0, 1, 2, 3. But third element of what list? You're very close. Just a little more. And then we'll get today's session. So states is the list, right, which contains all the states, whose third element is Assam, correct? So states is this list. This list is states, right?
Yes.
Yes. And the third element was Assam, as you said. So states, third element. This is Assam now. But this is the whole thing. And we just want the text, Assam. And that was literally that. This is literally what it is. Let's go back to our console to see what we did when we printed out all of these numbers. So we said for state and states. So state is an element of this list. And we are printing out that element's text. And when we print out that element's text, we get these things, right?
Yes.
So now, when we are doing states 3, what we are saying is third element, or sorry, element at index 3 in the list states and the text of that element.
Yes.
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 Let's run it, and then if this works, and if like all of you may like understand, we can stop here for today, and then like we'll just discuss in 2 minutes what you should be doing on your Sunday. Sorry, but yeah, Sunday homework. So it selects Bihar. We go to the fact sheet of Bihar. We go back, and then we select Assam because that was the third element, and now we get the fact sheet of Assam. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. All right. So that's what we have today. That was what we had. That is where we started. I started with like a script, which like went back and did all of this thing. Now, what you should do for tomorrow is you should like play around as much as you like. You know, if you want to click on different links, try doing that. Try exploring more functions within these. And remember, like the way to explore is that dot button is like that dot tabbing is very helpful because then it shows you all the functions and all the properties and you can read. And because Python is so like easy to understand, like because the syntax are literally English, like this says select by visible text, this says options. You can literally guess that what it is going to get you, right? So try all of that out. But what you should absolutely do is, so write a program using whatever script this is, and like I'll post this script. You should be able to cycle through all of the states and make sure that you're able to get and see each state. So start from Assam and end at Tamil Nadu, Telangana, whatever is the last state on the website. No, West Bengal. My English alphabet is bad. Yeah, West Bengal. Right. Sorry. So you cycle through all of these states. So start from Assam and end at West Bengal, and you should be able to see each fact sheet. And tomorrow we'll discuss how to download these fact sheets and then how to extract tables from it, right? So tomorrow, what we are going to do is tomorrow, right? Arushi, Saket, you have a session tomorrow?
We can discuss that. I am traveling tomorrow. But whatever you guys think is best.
Okay, we will talk about that and we'll let you guys know. But for the next session, what we can do is so this like you get a fact sheet and then there are these tables, right, in them. So the first thing we'll do is we'll download these fact sheets. Right now we are just loading them in the web page. Tomorrow we'll learn how to download them, and then we'll also learn how to extract these tables, right, and then save these tables in Stata or Excel or whatever, so that we can do our data analysis, right? That is for tomorrow. Sounds good? Any questions? And if there are no questions, then that's it. But definitely try these things out. Like try what I said. Like I'll try to send a note with this code data. And it's like a small code, right? It's 20 lines. It's nothing. So you can learn each line. I'll comment on each line what it does, and so that we understand what's going on. Okay.
Just